Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. As always, welcome back to those who are already subscribed to this channel. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews like the one we've got coming right now. A big welcome to the show to Zack. Zack, welcome to the show.
Simplify.
Always great to have you on the show. This is the first time you've been on this type of show. Last time I had you on, it was in person after you had a really nice first round submission win over Anthony Hogebeck. You have since gone pro, and now you're on the show to talk about a Brawl in the Burgh 20 fight for 247 Fighting Championships, February 24th, which is going to be against Lucas Seibert, his pro debut and your second pro fight. Welcome to the show. And what are your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, I think he'll be pretty good, but I think I train with people that are better, and I know people that have trained with him, and they have gone with me, and I think I stack up very well.
It's a great mindset to have coming into it. Of course, you are now in your second pro fight. And what do you think it's like now being at the pro level where, of course, there's all the standard pro rules. You no longer have any of the advanced amateur rules that you've had to fight in before. And even though you lost your debut fight, what was it like having a pro fight, doing the 15 minutes, having the bigger rule set? How'd that all feel for you in there?
It wasn't anything crazy. Ever since I was like a little kid, I never like ever changed my training. I've always trained like for 5 minute rounds and like head kicks and elbows and heel hooks and everything like that. So I like literally up until like a week until like an amateur fight, I would just have my rules be just pro rules. So I think I'll have a big advantage in that sector as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Some people don't do that. Some people train according to the rule set and then add on as they go. Kind of great that you already have always trained pro rules, except, if you had a week out from a fight. You mentioned Lucas Seibert. He's the current featherweight amateur champ. This fight will be at 135. He's undefeated as an amateur. And obviously, I personally think it's exciting for him, but it's also exciting for you that you get to take on a guy that a lot of people think is going to be good. And a win over him, of course, is a big deal for you, taking out an undefeated amateur. Is that your mindset? Well, why'd you say yes to this particular fight?
Just because they offered it to me, and pay was all right compared to other offers. So, and also it was close. And also I need to go back to Pittsburgh because I have $50 at that fucking meat place that I need to cash in. So I would never go back to fucking Pittsburgh unless it's on some ops. So yeah.
Oh, you still got some meat bucks to use.
Yeah, seriously, I need to cash them in.
Well, that's good. That's good. You got to get down to the strip district meets. They do the meat bucks for the fighter that they think had the best. I think it's kind of like a sort of a finish bonus or best performance bonus type thing that they do. And I remember I was interviewing you in the cage after you defeated Hogebeck, and you were excited, of course. You were yelling about meat bucks, that you wanted the meat bucks. And I thought, because I didn't understand the context, I thought you were saying meatballs. And I was like, well, that's an Italian. If I ever heard somebody yelling about meatballs after a fight, but it was meat bucks, and you ended up getting the meat bucks. So that'll be great for you.
Yeah, I got that Boomhauer thing going on.
You got what?
I got that Boomhauer thing going on, how I talk. So I understand.
Okay. Hey, there it is. It's always exciting. I never know as the in-cage interviewer what somebody's going to say, but that's what's kind of exciting about interviewing people. Certainly makes a lot of sense. You fought for 247 before. It's kind of nice when you're able to come back and the promotion, and of course it's going to be kind of nice to have you back in the cage. A lot of eyes will be on you. How far of a drive in is it for you? Are you bringing any fans, or are they mainly going to be watching on pay-per-view?
I mean, I only got 4 seats in my car, so I mean, I'm just gonna bring my coach and stuff. But yeah, I'm probably just watching from pay-per-view and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, then that brings up the obvious question. Certainly that makes a lot of sense. You're the away fighter coming in to fight the local guy that's got a lot of excitement behind him. He's gonna, I'm sure, have sold a lot of tickets. It's the obvious question, but I think it's a good one. Of course, you have a Warriors mindset and training your Marines, so obviously. But what's it like knowing that that crowd environment's going to be supporting Lucas? Is that something you block out, or is that something you use to even get yourself more fired up?
It literally doesn't matter at all to me. I don't know. For some reason, like I'm just like disconnected from reality. Like I cannot like a lot of people they try to block it out, but I can't even like bring it in if I tried. Like it's kind of weird. It's just like too much. Like I look at like the like crowd and stuff, and like my brain just can't comprehend it. So I'm just like, cool.
Well, I guess that's good for that's good for the fighting environment if that's kind of how you process. It's certainly a lot to handle, and it's certainly better to kind of block it out, like you said, just sort of you don't process it, you don't really consider it. Then, understandably, I think there's been fighters that do get impacted negatively by the crowd noise, by the overwhelming support for somebody else, and obviously it's kind of good that that won't be affecting you. For you, I believe, and obviously I don't want to give anything away, but I think it's known that he's probably a taller, rangier fighter, similar to Anthony Hogabek. I'd say they're roughly, the longer, taller. You're the shorter, stronger, maybe, or thicker, however it works at 135. But how do you think it will work in stand up? Is it something that obviously you're kind of planning on keeping it stand up, or do you think you have a advantage on the ground? Or and of course, if you want to answer vaguely because of not wanting to share something, that's fine too. But I'm just wondering how you think it'll play out.
Not even to like keep it vague, but I think I just kind of have an advantage everywhere. He has like more like wrestling like technical like credentials over me, but I wrestled myself and I did pretty good. And I train with a lot of wrestlers and I can take a lot of people down. Also, MMA wrestling is a lot different than like wrestling, and I have been doing that longer than him. And yeah, like pretty much a lot of the stuff. And like I've watched his fights, and he seems like he's good at wrestling. So he hasn't really had someone good enough to like make him do MMA wrestling. So yeah, and even if he takes me down, I think I'll be all right.
All right. I mean, it's a great mindset to have. And I do think that's the whole purpose of anyone's MMA career is to continue to advance. You've done it from amateur to the pro level. He's, of course, making his debut against you, and it makes perfect sense. That happens even with the UFC highest level. Sometimes you have to get to a fight where a fighter has the skills or abilities that you haven't faced before. And I think that's also a compliment to who you are, that that a guy with his background and record realizes that like you are a good opponent to force. And I've had him on the show a bunch, and he will always say that he's looking forward to having to fight better guys, more talent, having to do more. So to your point, makes perfect sense that you could have more experience in MMA wrestling. Of course, you do, and that will just make the fight more exciting and make him grow or develop his skills or potentially become a strength for you. On that note, do you want to make a prediction for how you think it's going to go as far as the way you're going to win, or what you think the result will be, or what would you like to make as far as a prediction of this fight? Brawl in the Burgh 20, February 24th at the Murraysville Sports Complex, I think is what it's called. And what are your thoughts on how the fight's going to go?
I'm probably just gonna come in at egregious angles like an invasive species, and then probably lose by disqualification by just ripping his head completely off. So yeah, that's my prediction.
Well, hey, it's always nice to hear that your plan is to lose by disqualification. It's a unique way, in the movie Dodgeball, the character says, "I think they're forfeiting." He goes, "Oh, let's see how this works out for him." So we'll see how your plan works out for you, February 24th. Always awesome to have you on the show. That's a big time. They've announced, I think, 3 or 4 fights on that card so far. They're all very exciting fights. Yours a very exciting fight. A lot of eyeballs going to be watching your fight. That's the type of pressure that I think makes particularly pro fights even more exciting. An honor to have you on the show. Can't wait to see February 24th, Brawl in the Burgh 20. Get tickets either at 247fighting.com, 247 Live app for your friends. And I know you have Marines all over the place that watch you. They can get the pay-per-view through the 247 Live app. Super great to have you on the show. There's a lot of reasons to watch that card either in person or pay-per-view, and you're a big one of them. So thanks so much for telling us your thoughts. Can't wait to see you in action February 24th, Brawl in the Burgh 20, 247 Fighting Championships. Thanks so much. It's always awesome to talk to you. You take care. You've been listening to Luke Payson with MMA Fancast and Jake, Zack, guest of the show. Have a great night, Jake.